I was playing with Viktor Hovland and Bryson DeChambeau. It's like the first time. I think it was Saturday at the PGA, and I'm kind of in contention. I wasn't struggling, but I was definitely nervous and hit it in the worst spot ever on hole 12. I mean, that bunker where I was at was like auto bogey, and I hit the greatest shot of my life and just ripped it on the top of the hill, and it falls in. And that kind of got me going. It was so cool being in that situation, kind of in contention at a major, and it was the first time I played with Bryson. It was just a cool day.
Yes, ladies and gentlemen, a very warm welcome to Austin Eckroat, two-time winner on the PGA Tour. Very good to see you, man. How's it going?
Oh, it's been great. Just enjoying some downtime. So.
Yeah, it's intense, right? Lots of travel, always lots of pressure, lots of focus. Is it nice just to switch off for a while?
Yeah, it's weird. You go through this, traveling, 3 out of 4 weeks, basically half the year. And then all of a sudden it's just kind of shuts off for, a couple months, and there's still events going on, but they're infrequent. And, I'm not sure what to do with myself when I go home. It's funny. I mean, I look forward to those 3 weeks or 4 weeks I have off. And then after about a week of not playing, I'm like, well, what am I going to do now? So it's kind of funny. You just get so used to the routine of just being on the road and traveling and competing every week.
When did golf become your life?
Pretty early. I mean, I played everything growing up. I played football, basketball, soccer, you name it. I probably played it. And, but, I think golf at a young age was the sport I was best at. And I knew that too at a young age, so it's just kind of, my dad loved golf. I loved golf. And it was fun winning golf tournaments, even though they were local Oklahoma events. So, I think, probably at the age of, 12, 13, 14 was kind of when I was, really, really kind of set, and I was going to try to play golf on the PGA Tour.
Do you think you have to be wired a certain way to be good at this sport? Because the pressure is something else, right?
Yeah, there's a funny joke that someone told me. I was young, but it's like you either have to be really smart or really stupid to play this game. So there's no in between on that threshold. You either got to, understand everything that's going on, all the swing issues and all this stuff, or you just got to be the guy that goes free wheels it and plays golf. But yeah, it definitely takes a certain mental makeup for sure. It's just a beat down at 95% of the time you're playing, and then that 5% of the time is pretty fun. So it's definitely not for the weak.
How do you find that freedom and block out all the noise, block out all the doubt, and I guess your own, voices inside your own head?
Yeah, it's hard. I mean, you get into a little bad run, miss some cuts in a row, even just on a smaller scale, just hit a few bad shots in a row. It's easy to have doubts creep in. And it's just a funny game. Sometimes you think you're so far away from playing good golf and competing, and then, it's just one swing feel, and all of a sudden you're back where you were, you're competing at a high level. It's just, it's a game that, you're just never that far away from either side. Even when you're playing well, you're not that far from struggling. It's just, confidence plays, a huge role in performance, not so much just the swing. So there's just you're balancing a fine line of, overconfidence and, and not knowing where the golf ball's going the whole time you're playing golf.
Have you always been fairly natural at this?
At golf, just fairly natural. Yeah, I would say I'm definitely not so much a Mr. Fundamental, I definitely had swing coaches growing up, and my dad's always helped me with my swing. But yeah, I'd say I'm more of a feel guy. If a little more handsy around the greens. I don't have a rigid putting stroke. Definitely some wrist breaks. So yeah, I'd say I'm a natural, more feel player for sure.
Like most golfers of your generation, you grew up watching Tiger, right? What for you was what got you about him?
Yeah, so Tiger was definitely, like, if you grew up around my age, he's the GOAT. He's the greatest, to ever do it. And I remember watching the U.S. Open at Torrey Pines. He was, what year was that? 2008 or something like that. 2009. So I was less than 10 years old. So I couldn't watch the putt on 18. I've got my head tucked in the couch cushion. It was just, he definitely changed the landscape of golf with making it an athletic sport, and getting people that wouldn't necessarily have played golf into the game, and now you can see it now. The game is just so much bigger, guys hit it further, more athletic, and there's just, I mean, the skill set now, and I mean, Tiger played a huge role in all that. And obviously the money we play for now is different because of him.
Yeah, there's a big trend in power hitting right now. How do you balance power and finesse?
Yeah, I think that's something that's really hard. I'm not one of the longest. I'm definitely not one of the shortest, but I'm, kind of right there in the middle. And, I've definitely fallen in the trap a couple times of feeling like I need to hit it further. You play with a guy that just, just smashes it and hits every fairway, and you're like, wow, that's game would be a lot easier if I was doing that. And, there's a fine line. I mean, there's definitely advantages to hitting it further, but, being in the fairway is so big, especially on the PGA Tour. I think it's something, you look back whenever I was playing the Corn Ferry Tour, you could probably get away with being a smasher, missing fairways, having wedges into soft greens from the rough. Now it's, those hitting it in the rough on the PGA Tour is so penalizing. And it's just, you're battling. That's another, mental grind. Or is it worth it to go chase the extra 15 yards, or is it worth it to go and get better from 15 yards further away? It's just I don't know, and I've fallen in the trap a lot. Trust me, and it's I think there was some struggles this year because of it, for sure.
There's the eternal questions, right?
Yeah, yeah.
What was Corn Ferry like for you, and how significant is that stage in the landscape of the game at the moment?
Yeah, I mean, it's huge for the, I look back at how I, progressed through the, the ranks. I finished school and I was in that first class at PGA Tour University. And so we had, top 5 of us had conditional status on the Corn Ferry Tour, guaranteed for 18 months. And it was that first summer, and then you got in the final stage. I didn't play too well at final stage, so I ended up playing half the year I made it through onto the PGA Tour. And it's just, you got to go learn to make birdies. It's a different game. It's, and there's times on the PGA Tour where you get conditions like that, and it kind of reminds you of that battle of just, making putts. Like, you just get used to hitting wedges close and making putts, taking spin off wedges. It's a completely different golf course setup. You're playing softer greens, and overspinning's an issue. Now it's, I mean, I can't tell you if I play less than 3 events a year where overspinning wedges is an issue. Most of the time it's, taking a skip, you need that spin. But yeah, it's a totally different game, but it's also huge for learning how to play professional golf, learning how to travel, learning how to manage all the time and stuff like that. It'd be hard if I think about how I did it, if I just would have got thrown out on the PGA Tour and, hey, figure this out, but also, all the stress that's going on with playing for so much money and all this stuff. So I'm very glad that I did the route I did.
How do you feel about opportunity now? Is there a good level of opportunity for people to reach the highest level? Is it tougher than ever? How do you see the overall picture?
Yeah, it'll probably change again by the time the season starts. But it's so funny. Since I've turned pro, every year's been different. The year I made it through the Corn Ferry Tour, I made it through Corn Ferry Tour finals, the last 3 events. That's no longer there. We played for 25 and 25. So 50 guys total. Then it was 30 last year. Now it's 20 guys this year. Less cards. I definitely think it'll be back to somewhat more normal this year. I think last year was very difficult with so many guys playing for 100 spots. Next year with less guys playing for less spots, it'll kind of just be how it was. But yeah, I mean, obviously there's pathways into the signature events. There's all these different things, but I would definitely say now there's an elite level of the PGA Tour, and going into next season, I'm on the outside of it, and it's, when it comes to making the East Lake Cup and all sorts of stuff like that, I mean, I'm at a huge disadvantage to start the season, just because of how I played last year, which in a way I kind of feel like is a little unfair. I mean, I'm still a PGA Tour player. I should have the equal opportunity to win the FedEx Cup, but it's just the way it is now.
Why do you think we're seeing so much change? We've seen also the TGL coming up, and I think a lot of sports have seen new initiatives, whether they're trying to draw in young fans or retain audience or grow audience.
Right.
Do you think this is like a big period of change in history for some reason?
Yeah, I don't know. I think there's some cool stuff that's come from it. I actually enjoyed watching the TGL stuff, and I've heard a lot of people that did enjoy it. I honestly don't have an answer for why all of it's happening. I think with YouTube becoming so big, the younger generation being into that style of things, I'm not sure how many young kids are liking to turn on TV and watch golf for 4 hours. So maybe, there's just trying to hit different markets, different, I honestly don't have a great answer for you, but there is a lot of change in everything going on right now. Shot clock on pitching, or the pitch clock, all sorts of stuff.
How in tune with content are you? Do you enjoy making it? Do your management encourage you to post more? What kind of content do you like making?
Yeah, I've been through I understand the benefits of it and all this, there's lots to be gained from it. I'm terrible at social media, and I actually, about 6 months ago, just deleted it all off my phone. So I don't have any of it now. And I still am, my wife and I will still go make a post together on my account, have it on my iPad. But, I mean, especially playing professional golf, you finish a round, teeing off at 7:30, say my wife's not at the event. I mean, I'm after doing as much as I can, practicing, going, seeing physio, working out, doing all that stuff. I'm back at the hotel at like 3 o'clock, and I got 7 hours until I go to sleep, and I would just scroll. I mean, I would scroll Instagram or TikTok or whatever it was for so long. I was at a tournament. I was like, this is so unhealthy for me, and just deleted it all. And since then, it's funny. I've kind of just, I thought it would have been more of a, difficult thing to get rid of, but it was pretty easy, honestly. Haven't had any issues or anything, but yeah, I understand the market in it, and there's huge value in it, and I need to post more, but it's just at this point with making as many bogeys as I did this year is kind of a focus on the backside of it.
One reel I do like on your account is that bunker shot. That was an absolute beaut.
Oh yeah,
Tell us about that.
Yeah, at the PGA Championship, I was playing with Viktor Hovland and Bryson DeChambeau. It's like the first time. I think it was Saturday at the PGA, and I'm kind of in contention. First time I backdoored a top 10 in the U.S. Open my rookie year, but I wasn't ever in contention. And I wasn't struggling, but I was definitely nervous and hit it in the worst spot ever on hole 12. I mean, that bunker where I was at was like auto bogey, and I hit the greatest shot of my life and just ripped it on the top of the hill, and it falls in. And that kind of got me going. It was so cool being in that situation, kind of in contention at a major, and it was the first time I played with Bryson. It was just a cool day.
Is Bryson making everybody stand up? You said you should post more, but that dude, when it comes to social media and content, is just on a different level. Do the players talk about it, and do they feel like they've got to up their game?
Yeah, I mean, it depends on what you're wanting to do with, there's so many more obligations when it comes to that stuff if you're very active on social media. I mean, it's a big time commitment. I think a lot of people have the mindset of, just going and playing golf, doing what they've always done. And then there's the guys that really, take that in, like a Minwoo Lee, someone who's really active on social media and and they think it's fun. They enjoy that side of it. But yeah, there's definitely, got to be the most recognizable golfer in the world right now. And, a big part of it's because of the YouTube stuff he does. And then also plays good golf on top of that and goes and competes in majors. It's pretty cool what he's doing.
Was Viktor one of your college roommates?
So in college, I lived with him. He bought a house in Stillwater after our 2019 season. He was after his junior year, my sophomore year, and I lived with him. So technically we were roommates, but he was already out of school. I lived with Matt Wolf my first 2 years. We were roommates. We went to school at the same time.
Oh, that must have been cool. What's that like? And seeing those guys, killing it.
Yeah.
Was it mixed emotions, being like, right, I'm going to be there soon?
Yeah. Yeah, it was cool. I mean, in college, I knew I was, a step behind them. Like I could beat them, but they were better than I was for sure. And if they would have gone out and struggled quickly early, I would have been sitting there thinking, man, I've got a lot of work to do. You know what I mean? I got to get a lot better. But then going out and having immediate success, both winning quickly, Matt got to top 20 in the world so fast. And, I think it was a huge confidence thing for me too, because I was like, I'm just one step behind them. I beat them all the time. Like I can do the same thing. And I think them having that success it made me feel like I was getting left behind a little bit, still in college, and I still went 2 more years on top of that. But it was a huge confidence boost for sure, just knowing that, I felt like I was just one step behind them and I could do the same.
sometimes there's a perception maybe among the younger audience that golf is kind of a stiff game, but
Yeah.
I feel there's so many characters in the sport.
Yeah.
Like, who is the most fun, and who would you most want to go celebrating with after a big tournament?
Man, I don't know. There's so many good guys on the PGA Tour, and so many different personalities. Just a quick one off the top of my mind. I didn't know Matt Wallace that well, and played with him in Japan, and he was awesome. I had no idea he was that cool. We were just 36 holes, played together, and just cracked jokes the whole time. I had no idea he was that awesome. And but I mean, that's 90% of the guys out here. It's a bunch of good dudes that just we all just play golf, and it's it's doing it for a living. And but yeah, off the top of my head, and definitely a recency bias would be Matt Wallace.
I guess you touched on it, like, Bryson being so recognizable probably because of his YouTube, but how fun was it seeing Happy Gilmore too, and just seeing all of your colleagues represent and people get to show a bit of their personality? Does that intrigue you? I mean, that was cool to see. I thought I was loving this.
I thought that was really cool. I mean, I watched, I had no idea. What was weird is I see those guys all the time, and no one ever talked about the fact that they were in the Happy Gilmore movie. It was weird seeing guys I know really well, that I see every single day on a movie. And some of them were pretty decent actors. I thought it was pretty funny. That was a unique experience for me, seeing people that I know in a movie for sure.
Who do you think killed it the most?
I just thought the storyline of Will Zalatoris was awesome, with the old caddy, and I just thought that was great. So he was definitely my favorite of the PGA Tour guys to make it in that.
What's the greatest golf movie ever?
Greatest game I ever played. That was my favorite movie as a kid. I love that movie. I've seen it 500 times probably.
Awesome. What's the vibe like now for you? Because you're pretty young still, right?
Mm-hmm.
Are you feeling, right, something huge is about to happen, I'm about to accomplish all of my dreams? Or do you feel like you're already living your dream?
Yeah, I mean, I would say that I'm not, definitely haven't achieved everything I've wanted to achieve. Winning on the PGA Tour, I always wanted to do that. I wasn't sure I was ever going to do it. So yeah, a lot of my dreams have been, in golf have been achieved, playing on the PGA Tour, winning on the PGA Tour. But, dreams are always changing. And, at this point, I feel like my game's good enough to where I can win majors and compete and win tons of time on the PGA Tour. I had a down year this year, but I think I was just chasing the wrong things. But I've got 2 wins, and it feels like I could do that a lot. And I wouldn't necessarily say I have goals set of winning 20 times and winning 2 majors or something like that. But I'm definitely working for that.
What's the dream major for you?
It's the obvious answer is the Masters. But I was very surprised the first year I played. I got to play all 4 majors was 2024. I loved the British Open, or the Open Championship. But we played at Troon. The golf course was incredible. I love the weather. I love the fans. Obviously, if I had to pick one, it'd still be the Masters. It's just all the history and everything. But I think winning the Open Championship would be pretty cool.
There was a lot of chat this year about the Ryder Cup, of course.
Mm-hmm.
I saw some Americans saying that the European team just had so many more fun characters, because we're talking about characters in golf. Was that fair, do you think?
Yeah, I mean, a lot of the guys that are on the European team, I'm good friends with, and they're great guys. It's kind of funny just playing the same tour every day. You kind of forget the guys are from different countries, and I've never been in that situation where they actually kind of hate each other for a week. It's pretty cool. But some of the guys on the American team are awesome too. That's a good answer to your question earlier. JJ Spawn is probably another guy that I would, having a beer with after a round would be incredible. I've done it. We play a lot of golf together in Arizona, and he's the best. But the Ryder Cup this year was pretty cool. I mean, to have that Sunday get as close as it was I was sitting here on my couch. I was actually getting nervous. I was sitting here thinking, we won the first couple matches, and it was like, maybe there's a chance. And it just kept going on and on and on. It was pretty fun.
We talked at the start about sometimes having to shut out the noise and the internal voices in golf.
Yeah.
It's not often we get the external voices being quite so loud. Were you shocked by the fans and their behavior?
Right. Yeah, I mean, everybody kind of knew it was going to happen. You know, it's kind of fun, I think. And, you know, you're in New York, you're in the, you know, people love sports up there. And obviously there's probably some things said that were too far, but I didn't hear it on TV, but I'm sure things were too far. But, you know, you go to a basketball game or you go to a football game, there's some crazy stuff being said, and it just makes it kind of fun. I mean, obviously it being in New York was probably over the top, but I kind of like the idea of it. You know, if for that 1 week of the year, it's just chaos. You know, you're hated. You are absolutely hated by a side, and I think it's kind of fun.
So Scottie's the #1 ranked player in the world right now.
Yeah.
What makes him stand apart, do you think?
Yeah, I think what's unique about him is there's nothing really that, you know, you could just pinpoint as being just he's better than everybody at it on a driving range or on a putting green. It's just the way he does it in competition. You know, he just hits a lot of fairways, keeps the ball in front of him. Probably the best iron player in golf, but you know, you went and watched him hit range balls, you wouldn't necessarily think so. You know, just he hits it really solid and hits it good, but it's not like he's doing things that other guys can't do. But he just consistently does it over and over again. He's you know, seems to get to hole locations that no one else can, and never misses in the wrong spots. You know, just he just plays the game correct every single day. You know, even when he's off, he's missing in the right spots, and just, you know, plugs away and turns what some guys would turn into a 71 into a 68. It's just it's incredible what he's doing. And but it's, like I was saying, he's not dominant in any one thing. He's just really good at everything.
Consistency, the magic word.
Exactly. Exactly.
So what's one thing that you absolutely want to get done this year, or one thing, one big focus for you?
Yeah, I mean, I really want to make East Lake. You know, I think it's just a great, if you make it to East Lake, you had a great year. I probably knocked out one of those wins, you know, probably knocked out something along the way. I think a good grand goal idea is to make it to East Lake, because that means you did a lot of good throughout the year. And I think, you know, what I was saying earlier, it's, you know, I'm kind of behind the 8 ball on that. It's nice to be, I think it'd even be more of a plus, more of a bonus if I was to do it from the outside of the signature events this year. So, I mean, that's definitely the goal.
Awesome. Austin,
Yes,
it's been
sir.
an absolute pleasure, man. Thank you so
Thank you.
much. Hopefully we get to catch up again later in your career.
Yes, sir.
Enjoy every moment. It's been a pleasure.
Thank you. Yeah, thanks for having me on. It was a good time.